All I do is make weird faces, especially if there's a camera involved.
That's very true.
This is actually the face that I normally make when a camera's involved.
The top of your head's being cut off.
Yes!
No!
It's my least favorite part.
The top?
The top.
But that's the part everybody sees! Hi everybody, it's Daniel, and welcome to another video by The Entropy System. Today I have a very special guest. This is our boss, Becky. We've talked about her a lot on our channel and how awesome she is, and now she's agreed to do an interview with us.
Great, now I'm going to have to watch all of those episodes. Awesome. Thanks for the short joke earlier.
You're welcome. So anyway, how did you find out that we were a system?
I got your application, because you applied to work here. And I looked at it, I was like, okay, I'm going to do like any employer does, is I'm going to internet stalk them to make sure they're not secret crazy people in the way that I
ever had an employer do that before.
Oh, every employer does it.
Okay.
Guarantee they do it. So I searched you, and I was like, okay, boop, 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 boop. And I was like, oh, she's got a vlog. I'm like, doot, 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 doot. Watch a couple, and I'm like, oh, okay, she's got a D&D. Okay, cool. How is that like? Doot, 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 doot. Wait. It's doot, 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 doot.
We just have your arms. We've got a dying battery,
This is my interview, Julie.
All right, so what were your first thoughts about hearing that we had this condition?
I didn't really care.
Just like, oh.
I was like, as long as she can do the job, that's all I care about.
Okay, solid.
So the interaction that you and I had already had as a customer in the store didn't affect my opinion of what you have and what you deal with on a daily basis.
Because I was a regular here for a long time.
Exactly. and again, like any employer, what I want and what any employer wants is to make sure that you can do your job to the fullest ability, and that's all I care about.
Okay,
so,
you weren't concerned at all that would affect like work ethic or anything?
No. I mean, based off of what I had stalked earlier, based off of the things that I had read about you, and just observed in passing by, like any business. I mean, for us, because we have such a strong relationship, technically beforehand, with a lot of our employees. Yeah. Because a lot of times there's long-standing customers in the store, and we want to make sure they're the right fit for us. Because we don't have a lot of turnover here for good reason. Because we kind of vet them to essentially make sure that they're the right fit for our store. So we want to make sure that in that regard that you were the right fit. And the person that I had been interacting with, I had had no problems with. And my assumption, and obviously I did a little research on it, I'm like, what is DID? and so my assumption was, after doing that little bit of research, was, okay, this person who has DID obviously has a way to deal with all of these entities that live within this body. Yeah. And the person I've been interacting with, I've had no problems with. So my ultimate goal, was to make sure that that you knew, whoever I was going to be dealing with, whoever you are at the time, knew that my requirement from you was to do the job. Okay. And as long as you were doing the job, I didn't care. So, and that's really what an employer wants you to do, is do your job. Do your.
There was a long time where we didn't know that you knew. Yeah. Like, because you were like, I'm just going to wait for her to approach me. And I don't even remember what I said, but I said a joke that was only an inside joke for me about like something like I'm worth 10 employees or something like that. And then you looked at me and you go, yeah, right, in your head. Well, no, yeah, that works. And then walked away. And I was like, what do you know?
It was very funny to see your reaction.
I was so confused.
Well, and ultimately it's making sure that you felt comfortable here, and I mean it's your decision to inform people of it, and I didn't want you to feel like you had to be like, guess what, on this. It's not
you
like
didn't want to out me.
It's like I don't ask people like, so what's your orientation? No, I don't care. As long as you're doing your job, that's all I care about. And you were doing your job, and you still are doing your job. So I mean, like I said, ultimately that's all that matters. And so yeah, I didn't feel like you had to be like, here's my sign, this is what I am, this is what I suffer from, this is what I deal with on a regular basis. I just didn't care.
Didn't care. Yeah, no.
I mean, awesome. I cared, but I don't.
But like, yeah, no, it wasn't like.
It didn't affect our decision.
I guess that kind of answers the next question: was, do you feel like having DID affects our work ethic? But you kind of just said no.
No. So your work ethic is a little different from your actual productivity. So like you and I both have great work ethic. We'd like to get the job done. Mm-hmm. Like most of our employees, actually all of our employees, they like to get their jobs done. And so that's being self-motivated. I mean, I definitely see a little bit more motivation depending on who is at the shop that day. Yeah. But I mean, otherwise, it's still the same level of requirement that I have, and so it's not something that's really been affected that I would ever notice, I guess.
Next question is: do you feel like you have to like change your behavior around us or treat us differently because we're a system? Ever?
No.
No. You don't have to ask every employee's name before or when they come into work.
That's true. So I will say I really wish from time to time you just wear a name tag, because I feel bad when I'm not identifying you with the name that whoever's at the shop is identifying with for that day, or who's ever working with me today. It's like I have a certain amount of employees that I have to remember the names of, and I'm like, now I have to remember 10 more names. And I'm bad at that, and I'm sorry.
That's totally good.
And I feel bad because I make that physical representation. I'm like, okay, this person, this name is attached to this person, and that's what sticks.
Yeah.
And so like having to remember additional names for that one person,
for the one physical face.
I'm like, I can't. Like I have lots of nicknames for my dog, and that's probably like my dogs have lots of nicknames, and that's it. And I don't remember all those.
And I know like most of us like super don't like just the fact that you like try or that you acknowledge and like talk to us like we're us is awesome. But I know like Kit usually comes and she's like, "Hi, I'm Kit. Call me Kit.
Call me Kit." Well, yeah, Kit last week was like, "I'm needy today."
Like, she's been that a lot.
I was like, "Okay, all right, cool." I'm like, I got no time for needy. But I understand. I appreciate you letting me be needy today. I will do what I can to mitigate that.
So, difficult question. Who do you think is the hardest worker?
I mean,
or like who has the most productivity?
I read this question and I was like, but I love all of my children. All of my kids. I know you guys say you're all different and you have different likes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But from my observations, you guys all work the same. I mean, sometimes sometimes you're. Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't notice you being lazy or super hyperactive or anything. I don't notice that because again, you're doing the job that's put in front of you. It may be you, and this is really literally for anybody, depending on the day of the week. It doesn't really matter, but it's. I may be in a mood where I don't want to go up and talk to people. Well, that's who may be at the shop that day. Maybe don't want to go up and approach everybody like all bubbly and whatnot. But that's still exactly the same thing I'm going to get from any other employee. Mm-hmm. It just so happens to be that maybe it's a little more prominent with you from time to time. But again, it's not noticeable.
And so I know that people are going to ask of how many of us, like who you've met. So I know obviously.
So I definitely know Daniel. So I can tell Daniel over the phone.
Yeah. Every time she's like, "Is this Daniel?"
And I was like, "Oh, Daniel," because your voice will obviously be lower. You'll not be wearing makeup.
Yeah.
And you will dress a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. So there's like 3 definite identifiers that I can be like, okay, but all the other ones I can't tell from time to time. I'm like, maybe. But yeah, Kit is super bubbly and excitable and she's a go-getter and attention seeker. Sometimes I can figure out if it's Kit, but Wynn is very similar to Kit.
Yeah.
And so it's difficult for me to make that distinction. I mean, it's like considering you guys all to be sets of twins. Like if you were, was it?
I don't know. What's twins times 12?
What's twins times 12? Anybody? Is that these tuplets?
Dodecatuplets.
Dodecatuplets. You now have 10 children, and now you have to remember all their different personalities.
Yeah.
And identify that. I'm like, I mean, I can't.
No,
but
that's
not.
Fair. Well, and I know you've also met Kim.
I have met Kim. Yeah, Kim's worked a bunch of times.
Yeah, and then rarely, but I think you met Ed and Jacob.
Maybe, but I don't think Jacob worked with me for a long time. I think Jacob was very quiet that night. If he did work, with me.
Yeah, he was like once, and I think you met Ed like once.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't recall Ed. No offense, Ed, but I don't.
No, that's fine.
Ed. I'm like, I don't know. Ultimately, it comes down to I don't notice a difference, and it doesn't make a difference in our interactions.
Yeah.
As an employer to employee, it's still as long as you get the job done. That's all I care about.
And then the last question I have is, do you have advice for any other employers who may be hesitant about hiring someone purely because they found out that they have DID?
So, I mean, I can only go off of my experience. My experience first was discovering it on my own. Again, as an employer, we want to make sure we have the person that's applying is the right fit, potential right fit, somebody that is an applicant, that is an actual consideration that we're making. So, I mean, the way that I found out was, you know, I looked up the person. I wanted to make sure this person was the right fit. But it wasn't something that I felt should ever be. It's not a deciding factor, or a yes or no.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, maybe I'm going to get 10 employees out of one person. I'm like, dang, this is going to be stellar. It wasn't something like that. It was just, again, it was making sure that they were going to get the job done, and that at no point had you given me that feel. So I feel like any other employer, as long as that person is qualified on the application and in interviews and interactions, then it shouldn't matter. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's my perspective on it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's as long as you're upfront or open about it. I mean, it depends on the person if they're open about it, if they understand even what they're dealing with yet. As long as they're open and upfront with their employer, they shouldn't have any problems with that employer, or else that employer is not the right employer for them. Mm-hmm. Also. And vice versa. I mean, if it's not something that I felt like I could have dealt with, or felt like I had to deal with, again, I'm not dealing with it. You're the one that's understanding and taking care of yourself. And so I'm just here for you to make sure you do your job.
Yeah.
So I mean, ultimately, it doesn't make a difference, in my opinion, mm-hmm. on hiring somebody or not hire somebody.
Is there any last thoughts you want to throw out or add, or? You don't have to. Just if there was anything that popped up in your head that I didn't ask about.
Gosh, I don't know.
Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you are. No, I mean, I don't have any insight other than as long as you're upfront with your employer or your future employee, then it shouldn't make any difference. Mm-hmm. It's, I don't want to. It's not in my opinion. I guess I don't understand how I would classify it. I wouldn't say it's a disability because it's not a disability.
Yeah. I don't see it as a disability.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure some people would classify it as that.
Yeah.
And which I don't think is the right terminology. And I'm sorry if it comes across as like I'm uneducated on that. But
no,
it's,
you're good.
It's like somebody that may need to use some sort of advice to help them get around. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter as long as they're able to get the job done that I put in front of them. Mm-hmm. It's the same kind of concept. I cannot, and nobody should ever discriminate on that. It ultimately just comes down to making sure that person is qualified, either for education level or actual capability of doing the job. That's all that really matters when it comes to really hiring an employee. But again, I mean, I guess again, a couple extra employees out of you.
Yeah.
So just one, so I'm kind of the lucky one.
Bonus. It's like finding 2 treats in the Cracker Jack box. I don't know. That was ignore me.
Those aren't even treats.
They're like toys. They're little.
It's junk. It's junk.
Well, I mean, it depends on your point of view. Sometimes it's exciting. You get stickers or like temporary tattoos.
Yeah.
They're super awesome. I do want to take a second to say that like being here at the store has made us feel a lot braver as far as like embracing ourselves and not being ashamed of our disability. Disorder.
It's not
you put the word on my head.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry if it.
But like you and all of our coworkers and your husband and like even some regulars who have come in and been like, "Hey, I found you on YouTube," and I was like, they're like, "Yeah, that's cool." I'm like, "Oh, cool." Like never felt even like this much discrimination from literally anyone, and that just I feel very fortunate and very grateful for this environment. The store has been a very good thing for us. So.
Well, and that's ultimately what the store is meant to be. Mm-hmm. Is a nice, comfortable, inviting environment.
I mean, you don't want to have an unpleasant environment with games?
I don't. That's not something we've ever promoted and ever wanted. I mean, we wanted to have something that was safe and comfortable for everybody.
Yeah.
For whatever they were into. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's great that you feel comfortable, all of you feel comfortable here, and that's fantastic, but ultimately that's our mission statement.
Everybody, thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget that we have really cool t-shirts, and now we also have stickers and socks, and some of them have my face on it. Check it out. It's very good.
You have stickers and socks now?
Yeah, of Daniel's face. Well, also Kit and Kim and Leo.
They're adorable. They're like chibi.
They're like little Hello Kitty versions.
Why am I just finding this?
I don't know, but you should wear my socks. They're good stuff.
I feel like I know when I'm getting the white elephant this year.
Everybody have a great day. Thank you for watching, and remember, you are loved, you are valuable, and you are valid. Bye!
Duo decaplets?
Thank
Sounds
you,
like decapitating. I just can't. I can't.